Hi, I'm Debbie and welcome to Book and Bujo, where I talk about all things books, bullet journals, and stationery. Today, let's go over the 25 books I want to read in 2025. Before we get into my 25 in 2025, let's see how I did with my 24 in 2024. Better than I thought. I did read 14 of my 24. Oh, 14 and a bit, because there is one I'm still working on. I did read Mother of Learning Part 1, and I'm hoping to get to Part 2 next year. That's by Domagoj Kermiak. And then I did read Empire of the Vampire, the first book in the series by Jay Kristoff. Loved that one. I also read Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake. I finished the entire Kingfall series by David Estes, and the first book was on this list. I did read Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. I actually finished Vicious as well. I finished Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree and Flip by David Estes. I got the Slip series finished. Unbound by Michael R. Miller. The Prophet of Edan by Philip Chase. Discipline is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. Spellbreaker by Charlie N. Holmberg. I was hoping to finish the duology, but I have not made it to the last book yet. The Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. And I actually just finished The Winter of the Witch, the last book in the Winter Night series, and it was amazing. Loved it. And I finished Katana of Trust by A.C. Ward. The one I'm currently working on is A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. So I am on page 46, I believe. Yeah, so I'm on chapter 4, page 50, so barely making a dent. I think I'm like 2% of the way through, but at least I'm getting there. Plus that one's kind of a low priority right now. And that's the 14 and a bit book that I did finish from my 24 and 2024. So I still have to read, which I will not get to and may or may not carry over. We'll see. House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. I ended up starting the ACOTAR series instead. A Shade of Madness by Tiago Abdallah, which I do want to read that one. The Malevolent Seven by Sebastian de Castell. Black Flame by Will White. So I did read the first two books in the Cradle series and I enjoyed them, but I'm not loving it, so I'm not driven to read the third book in the series, which I do own the first three books, and I really do want to finish the ones that I own, just haven't gotten there yet. The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah, have not read that one yet. Golden Age by James Maxwell. Forever King by Ben Galley. A Winter's Promise by Christelle Duveau, which I really do want to read that series. And then Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I have not read that either. So let's see how many I actually carried over. Some of them I may carry over into my priority series for 2025, which that video will be coming soon as well. And how I actually did with this year's series. Let's hope I actually finished some of them. We'll see. Okay, 25 books in 2025, and I did most of them are on my Kindle, so this helps me to read down my Kindle as well, because I have a few goals for 2025, and I will go over those when I set up my reading journal and I create those pages in my reading journal, and I'll go over those then. But one of them is to read down my Kindle books, because I have way too many. So let's go ahead and get started. I will start at one, and there's no real order here. It's just the order I thought of them as I was writing them down. All right, first book. Not a big surprise. Everybody's reading it right now. I am waiting till January at least probably to start it, but January, February, somewhere in there. Because I want to finish this one before one of my most anticipated reads comes out, and that is Vampires and Dust by Ryan Cahill, the fourth book in the Bound and the Broken series, because that is the main book I want to read next year. Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson, the fifth book in the Stormlight Archives. I am super excited to continue with the series. This is the only book in the Cosmere I haven't read yet. There's a ton of Brandon Sanderson books I haven't read, but this is the only one still in the Cosmere that I have not read. I even read the White Sand story in Arcanum Unbounded and all 3 volumes of the comic. So that's how dedicated I am to reading these. Plus, I read Rhythm of War a few months ago now, and I want to make sure I get to this one before all of that information leaves my brain. All right, book number 2 is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence, and this is the first book in the Library trilogy. This is, again, another one I wanted to read this year, but never got around to it. The next book that just came out this past year, and it is a fellow booktuber, and her name is Jade Juniper, and I will leave her channel linked down below, but she published The Solstice Court, and this is the first book in the Thrice Kingdom, and I am super excited to read this one. She gets so animated and is so cute when she starts talking about her book, and I cannot wait to read this one. Another book that I was really hoping to get to this year that I just didn't, I kept forgetting about it or just never got to it, and whatever all the excuses are, I never got to read Return to Eden by Philip Chase, another fellow booktuber, and I will leave his channel linked down below as well. This is the third book and final book in the Eden trilogy, and I am super excited to read this one. And the whole trilogy is having special editions done by The Broken Binding, so if you want to check those out, they are so beautiful, and I believe Patrick Leo is doing the art direction for them as well, and they are just stunning. Book number 5 is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir, and this one again has been on my TBR for more than a year, and I would like to get to this one. And this is the first book in the Ember in the Ashes series. And for this next book, yes, I am going to jump on the bandwagon. I was returning one of my Prime reading borrows, or my Amazon borrows, and I noticed that this book was available with Prime Reading, so I could borrow it for free and give it a read, and I'm super excited because everybody is talking about it, and that is A Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. And this is the first book in the Kindred's Curse series. Now, the next few books I do not have on my Kindle. Pretty sure my library has it through Hoopla. Most of these anyway. There's only one I'm not quite sure about, but I'm hoping my library at least has the physical book. I haven't looked yet, but I'm hoping. So the first one, I know Hoopla has the ebook available, and that is The Harp of Imok Thistle, and this is the third book in the Lyra series, or Lyra series by Patricia C. Weird. And I loved the first book. The second book was good, intriguing. So I want to at least continue into the third book and see what I think, because the first 3 books they're all in the same world with mentions of the same characters, but they're all kind of standalones before it kind of gets more back into the characters from the first book. And they're the ones I'm interested in, so I want to see kind of where this one goes and then get into the 4th book and see if I want to continue. I think there's 6, maybe 7 books in the series, somewhere in there. So we'll see if I continue with it or not after this one. And then we have This Savage Song, which is the first book in the Monsters of Verity series by V.E. Schwab. And I've been wanting to get into this one for quite a while. I really love V.E. Schwab's work, and I hope to read even more. Next, I read the first book in the Shadows and Crowns series by S.M. Gaither, so I'm hoping to get into the second book, which is A Twist of the Blade. I'm looking forward to seeing where this second book goes. Book number 10 is A Court of Mist and Fury, the second book in the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. Number 11, another one I don't have but hope my library does, and that is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, and this is the second book in the Alex Stern series. Book number 12, The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett, and this is the first book in the Shadow of the Leviathan series. Book 13, Demon's Reign, which is the first book in the Bloodwood saga by David Estes and Ben Galley, 2 of my favorite authors. Next up, Dungeon Crawler Carl, the first book in this series by Matt Dinniman, and I've heard so many good things about this one, I can't wait to start it. Next up, Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. Book number 16, The Echo of Old Books by Barbara Davis. The next book I am pretty sure is going to work for a couple of readathons for 2025 as well, and I've heard some really good things about it, so I'm interested to check it out, and that is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. Book number 18, Gods of the Weirdwood by R.J. Barker, and this is the first book in the Forsaken series. Book number 19, Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio. And this is the first book in the Sun Eater series, and I've heard so many good things about this one. I can't wait to try out the first book and see what I think. Book number 20, I am excited to finish this series, and that is Spellmaker by Charlie N. Holmberg. And this is the second book in the Spellbreaker series, and it's a duology, so it's just the 2 books. And I did enjoy the first one, had a nice Victorian London kind of feel to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it concludes. Next up, another series I need to finish, and I think this is the last one that's out so far, and that's A Shade of Madness by Tiaga Abdallah, and this is the second book in the Ashes of Avarin series, and I loved the prequel novella. That was probably my favorite so far. I really enjoyed the first book. I thought it was very interesting, and I can't wait to see what happens in the second book. And I mean, come on, look at that griffin. They have some really amazing creatures in there. You can kind of see like the lion feet on the back, the paws in the back there. Yeah, but there's griffins. How fun. Right, the next book was on my 24 in 2024, and I did not finish that one, so I rolled it over, and that is The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. And I'm hoping I will actually finish this one in 2025. Another book that I've put on quite a few readathons, but never have actually started it. So hopefully this will be the year, 2025 will be the year. And that is Wool by Hugh Howey. I've heard some good things about it, but then again, I haven't really heard much about it. So, yeah, we'll see what I think. Number 24, yet again, another book that everyone seems to have read but me, but I will finally get to it. And that is A Deadly Education, the first book in the Scholomance series by Naomi Novik. And lastly, book number 25 is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Eilington. And this is the first book in the Licanius trilogy. And I've had serious FOMO over this book, and everybody seems to love this series, and I want to read it. Somehow I seem to put a lot of first in the series on my list for 20 and 25, but that's okay because I'm very excited to get into all of them and see what I think. And I have a lot of start of series books on my Kindle. So let's bust some of those out and clean up my Kindle and get some good reads in. So what are you planning on reading in 2025? I would love to find out, so make sure you let me know down in the comments. Have you read any of the books that I have on my 25 and 2025 list, and what do you think? Did you love them? Did you not like them? Should I not waste my time? Is there a couple of books I should start with first? Let me know down in the comments. And please like, comment, and subscribe if you want it, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other bookish content. I've got a lot of fun stuff planned coming up with my top priority series that I want to read. I need to set up my reading journal, and we've got some fun sprints still coming up in December with the Merry Bookmas Readathon, so make sure you stay tuned. And until next time, keep reading. Bye!